Hola amigos, bienvenidos a Spanish Lessons for Me. Me llamo Ángela. Hoy hablaremos de 2 poemas. Today we will talk about 2 poems. Antes de cada poema te enseñaré un par de cosas relacionadas a gramática o vocabulario. Before each poem, I'll teach you a couple of things related to grammar or vocabulary. I will read the poems in Spanish and English, and then at the end I will read again both poems only in Spanish and at a more normal pace. Empecemos, let's start. One of the first verbs that you learned was probably the verb ser, to be. If you remember, the verb to be, ser, is used to express identity. For example, tú eres alto. Yo soy profesora. Tú eres generoso. You are generous. The question is, you might have seen eres and you might have seen also tú eres. Which one is right? Both are right. You can leave out tú because when you say eres, we know that it's conjugated for tú, so you can omit it, and we still know that you're saying you are. Por ejemplo, ¿eres famoso? Are you famous? Also, you might have seen that in a question, the subject pronoun tú could go after eres. ¿Eres tú idealista? If you do it the other way, tú eres idealista, eres correct also. Lastly, eres tú could mean it's you. Let's talk about this simple word, sí. As you can see, it has 2 meanings. It means yes if you write it with an accent. And it means if you write it without an accent. They are pronounced the same, sí. Also, it could go next to no, sino, and that means if not. If you see it without the space between sí and no, it's a different word. Sino means however or but. Example, no vino María, sino Claudia. María didn't come, but Claudia did. Lastly, you could also see another meaning for sino, and that is fate. Sino is pronounced a little different. It's sino versus if you're saying sino, then the stress goes in no. However, in fate, the stress goes in si, sino. This word's meaning, as in fate or destiny, is no longer being used as much. But you might still see it in poetry or in older texts. The first poem that we will read is written by a poet from Texas. Actually, she was born in California. Ella nació en California, pero creció en Texas y en Jalisco, México. She was raised in Texas and Jalisco, México. Los temas que toca su poesía son la naturaleza, el lenguaje y la identidad. Su inspiración es el ambiente. Daniela actually participated in a poetry exhibit that took place in San Antonio last year, and the poem that I will read today was selected for the exhibit. It is a beautiful poem called Quién, eres tú? Who are you? Por Daniela Ávalos. Sino una obra de arte, hecha y cosecha por el universo. If not a work of art, made and harvested by the universe. Galaxias entre tus venas. Galaxies in your veins. Eres la historia de tus antepasados. You are the history of your ancestors. Eres los momentos que sucedieron en miles de vidas. You are the moments that happened in thousands of lives. Eres miles de millones de emociones. You are thousands of millions of emotions. Eres montañas de felicidad. You are mountains of happiness. Eres ríos y océanos de amor. You're rivers and oceans of love. Eres lomas de tristezas. You are rolling hills of sadness. Eres como los árboles, dando oxígeno y esperanza de una vida feliz. You are like the trees, giving oxygen and the hope of a happy life. Una vida llena de orgullos. A life full of proud achievements. Eres arena, pegándose con curiosidad a tu alrededor. You are sand, sticking curiously around you. Eres una creadora, una artista. Tu brocha es tu risa. You are a creator, an artist. Your brush is your laughter. Eres todo el poder divino femenino. You are all the divine feminine power. Eres hija, eres hermana, eres una amiga a todos que crucen tu camino. You are daughter, you are sister, you are a friend to all who cross your path. Eres un alma compartiendo esta dimensión. You are a soul sharing this dimension. Eres polvo del universo. You are dust of the universe. Eres tú. And now I'll read it at a normal pace and only in Spanish. ¿Quién eres tú? Por Daniela Ávalos. Sino una obra de arte, hecha y cosecha por el universo. Galaxias entre tus venas. Eres la historia de tus antepasados. Eres los momentos que sucedieron en miles de vidas. Eres miles de millones de emociones. Eres montañas de felicidad. Eres ríos y océanos de amor. Eres lomas de tristezas. Eres como los árboles, dando oxígeno y esperanza de una vida feliz. Una vida llena de orgullos. Eres arena, pegándose con curiosidad a tu alrededor. Eres una creadora, una artista. Tu brocha es tu risa. Eres todo el poder divino femenino. Eres hija, eres hermana, eres una amiga a todos que crucen tu camino. Eres un alma compartiendo esta dimensión. Eres polvo del universo. Eres tú. Next, we're going to read a poem by Federico García Lorca. This was a request from one of you, so I am adding a poem from Federico García Lorca today. But before we do that, I wanted to remind you about the stem changing verbs in the present. As you know, we have some verbs where the stem has a vowel that changes. It doesn't change in all of the persons. It changes in all of them except nosotros and vosotros. The stem is the first part of the verb. So, for example, for querer, the stem is quer. And that E that you see there in red, when you conjugate it for yo, changes to IE. Yo quiero. Another group of stem changing verbs is a group of verbs where the O in the stem changes to UE. Two examples would be costar, to cost. Esto cuesta. You see that O became UE. This verb is conjugated in the third person singular. Also, doler, to hurt, as in to feel pain, is a stem changing verb that changes to UE. Example, esto duele, this hurts. This verb is also reflexive, meaning if you want to say something hurts me, you would add a reflexive pronoun me. As you can see in the example, it says me duele. Little bit of vocabulary. Hat, sombrero. Cintillo is a word that is not used very often, but it refers to the headband of the hat in this poem. Pañuelo, handkerchief. Pañuelo. Tristeza, sadness. Tristeza. Federico García Lorca, the author of this poem, nació en 1898 en España. He is considered to be one of the poets from the generation of 27, la generación del 27. That was a group of poets that were very famous and still are. They're known as the generation of 27. One of his most famous works is Romancero Gitano. The themes that he touches on are love, death, and the Andalusian culture. He was executed in 1936 for his political beliefs. However, his poetry, the importance of his work, has endured. Es verdad. It is true. Por Federico García Lorca. Ay, qué trabajo me cuesta quererte como te quiero. Oh, how hard it is for me to love you as I love you. Por tu amor me duele el aire, el corazón y el sombrero. For your love, the air, my heart, and my hat hurt. ¿Quién me compraría a mí este cintillo que tengo y esta tristeza de hilo blanco para hacer pañuelos? Who would buy from me this headband I have and this sadness of white thread to make handkerchiefs? Ay, qué trabajo me cuesta quererte como te quiero. Oh, how hard it is for me to love you as I love you. That's it. It's a short poem. Hopefully you can memorize it, or at least memorize a couple of the verses. I will read it next at a normal pace and only in Spanish. Es verdad, por Federico García Lorca. Ay, qué trabajo me cuesta quererte como te quiero. Por tu amor me duele el aire, el corazón y el sombrero. ¿Quién me compraría a mí este cintillo que tengo y esta tristeza de hilo blanco para hacer pañuelos? Ay, qué trabajo me cuesta quererte como te quiero. That's it for today. If you learned something new, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe. Adiós amigos, sigan estudiando, les mando un abrazo y hasta la próxima. Adiós.